They are the insiders, Darren Dreger, Pierre Lebrun, and Chris Johnston. Gentlemen, at the trade deadline, Jake Guentzel was kind of the belle of the ball, and that might be the case again here in free agency. Pierre, what's the latest on a deal for Guentzel?
Well, first of all, the team that still has his rights for a few more days, the Carolina Hurricanes, keep pushing hard. Another new offer. Remember, they're the only team that can offer 8 years max, and that offer has gone up. It's giving Jake Guentzel a lot to think about, but no decision yet. In the meantime, the list of teams that wants to get in on Jake Guentzel keeps growing, and some teams might surprise you. They would have to move some pieces around to go after it, but they're willing to do it if he gets there Monday.
Yeah, and I think Vancouver would be one of those teams, right? Jake Guentzel is a hot commodity. The issue that Patrick Allvin and the Vancouver Canucks have is cap space, and how do you create that? They're looking at their own unrestricted free agents. I look at Lindholm, who we know now is going to the open market. Could he be a good fit with the Boston Bruins? You look on defense in Vancouver, Chris Tanev, if he gets to the open market and doesn't re-sign in Dallas, he could be an option for a number of teams, including the Vancouver Canucks. So a lot going on there. And Kevin Cheveldayoff, the general manager for the Winnipeg Jets, also very busy. Lots of speculation around his prospect. Rutger McGroarty, he's taking calls there, interested in making a move for either a draft pick, maybe a prospect, a young player. Winnipeg is still in it to win it. Getting calls on Nick Ehlers, the veteran, but there's no rush on either one of those players. And in the meantime, Cheveldayoff is still working with a Monahan camp, potentially extending there.
And just a quick note on Vancouver, Dregs, you pretty much covered it all, but they still have left the door open for Tyler Myers, who's UFA on Monday. There was another conversation in the last 24 hours between the Canucks and Myers' camp. Haven't bridged the gap yet, but there's still mutual interest there.
Brad Treliving made it clear in his media availability that beefing up the D is priority number one, outside of whatever might be happening with Mitch Marner. But, CJ, there is still some work to be done up front and a couple of unsigned forwards that, were meaningful to this group.
Yeah, two forwards, I think, that if all things being equal, would like to remain in Toronto. And, in some ways, I'm a bit surprised that Max Domi is at this spot, on the doorstep of potential free agency without a new deal, because the Leafs and his camp have had a dialogue. It doesn't seem as though the gap is too massive there. I think that they both see the value in each other, but, they're hammering away right now with that July 1st kind of deadline, in a sense, over their heads. But, wouldn't be surprised me if they found a way to get that done. But right now, it's sort of at a difficult stage of those talks. And Tyler Bertuzzi, who some have thought is out the door in Toronto, that's not so. It sounds like Tyler Bertuzzi is very willing to work with the Leafs when it comes to the length of the contract, even the money. I don't think that this is a case, pay me this or I'm out the door. I don't think there's any hard lines being drawn. And all things being equal, Tyler Bertuzzi would like to remain in Toronto, but both of them are waiting to see, is there money there? Is it a priority for the Leafs as they look to shore up their blue line?
Yeah, and the money is going to the blue line for the most part. And when you look at the list of right shot defense that Brad Treliving is targeting, it's a long one. I've got to read the list. That's how long it is. I mean, it starts with Chris Tanev, then you look at Brandon Montour, Stanley Cup champion now. What about Matt Roy if he hits the open market, leaving the Los Angeles Kings? You've got Brett Pesce, again, going to open market, leaving Carolina. And Alexander Carrier would be another one, along with Sean Walker. So there's a lot of options that Treliving is kicking
and
around.
Vinny Darnay potentially going to market too. Another option out of the Edmonton Oilers. Pierre, the Philadelphia Flyers, maybe trying to move and shake, make a little bit of a splash. We've seen a first-round pick go already. The San Jose Sharks moving up.
Yeah, this is always an interesting time leading right into the first round of the draft on Friday. What we're being told is that the Flyers made a pretty aggressive pitch to the Columbus Blue Jackets on Wednesday, offering a swap of first-round picks, also a roster player, plus perhaps next year's first-round pick, all part of a package to try to get the 4th overall pick from the Blue Jackets. I believe the answer was no, but that doesn't mean you can't try again.
CJ, Jeff Jackson held a media availability today, as Dregs reported over the last couple of days, moving on from Ken Holland. There's a lot of work to be done, including finding a replacement. That's tough to do right in the middle of an NHL entry draft. He says he wants to get some interviews done, but good luck with that right now.
Yeah, I mean, most people working in other front office, the prime candidates are, part of free agency, part of the drafting process, so that'll be something to maneuver. I think what's interesting for me here is that Jeff Jackson was unequivocal. He does not want to be the GM of the team. Obviously, he's going to oversee the hockey operations department and some of the decisions they have to make here in the next few days. But as we get into July and the Leon Draisaitl talks pick up, he also made it clear that he'd like to have the next general manager in place by that point in time. And so there's maybe not firm timelines involved there, but obviously the Oilers have to act quickly and they got to navigate around what other teams are going to allow them to do.
All right. Well, as much as we love this Vegas skyline behind us, big day tomorrow, guys. We get to walk into the Sphere. The Insiders will be from the Sphere here in Vegas tomorrow. They are the Insiders. Darren Dreger, Pierre Lebrun, and Chris Johnston.